Well, they're talking today about a no-deal Brexit. I don't believe it for a moment. I think Philip Hammond has let the cat out of the bag by saying it would have catastrophic, awful consequences. And Jacob Rees-Mogg has responded in a way that we just heard from Stephen Swinford from The Telegraph. It's open civil war on Brexit in the Tory party. But you know something? One thing they're not talking about, they're just not discussing immigration. They find it too awkward. They find it too embarrassing. I, of course, have tried to talk about immigration, and I've talked about the rise in population on this show, the effect on living standards, and many of you think I'm sort of making it up. Well, I have said to you before that I thought over 2/3 of the population growth in this country was directly due to immigration and the irresponsible policies I believe we followed since the turn of the century. But don't take it from me. Let's get the absolute facts and figures. I'm going to go next to Lord Green of Deddington, and he is chairman of Migration Watch, former ambassador to Syria, former director of the Middle East in the Foreign Office, an experienced diplomat. Andrew, good evening. Are you with me?
Good evening. Yes, I am, Nigel.
Good. So, firstly, can you just explain to us how much our population has increased since the turn of the century?
Well, it's increased by about 8 million.
8 million?
What we've, from 2001 to, let me reach for the number, 2001, the total increase was 6.6 million.
6.6 million.
6.6 million between 2001 and 2016.
Yeah.
But what we have done for the first time, I think, is to make the first proper calculation of how much of that increase was down to immigration. Now, some of that is obvious. The number of migrants is known. The number of children who came with them is known. But what nobody had calculated was how many children they had had after their arrival. Now, these children are not migrants, of course, because they were born here, but clearly they've added to our population. So when you do that proper calculation, which frankly the government could easily have done and never did, what we found was that in that 15-year period, 82% of our population increase, 82% was down to immigration. I mean, it's just astonishing.
So that's 5.5 million, roughly.
Yes, 5.4 million, exactly. What that means is that immigration is adding to our population 1 million people every 3 years.
Wow.
It is down to immigration. I mean, it's absolutely astonishing. And so, as you said at the beginning just now, it's really not possible to talk about the impact on housing or roads or schools or whatever, unless you recognize that a major cause of it, 80%, 82%, is down to immigration. And just to take one example, housing, you may know that we will have to build a new home every 5 minutes, night and day, just to house new migrants. That's the scale of it.
Can you explain to me, Lord Green, and I am completely with you on this, the impact on, and you didn't even mention traffic on the roads, because of course, you know, 2.5 million new car or more cars in the space of the last 5 years is again directly linked to the size of population. Why is mainstream politics completely in denial on this subject?
I think for a number of reasons. One is I think some people are nervous about being thought of as racist if they talk about immigration. And I think that applies quite widely in the bureaucracy at sort of working level and lower levels. They just don't like to talk about it. And I think it applies in the BBC as well, as a matter of fact. But I think beyond that, we are approaching the point where the number of voters who are immigrants or who have a family abroad who they would like to come here and so on, I think they are becoming a significant factor, or will become a significant factor, in the calculations of the two major parties.
Yeah. No, I'm sure, and particularly in urban areas, some of which on the outer edges are marginal. I'm sure that's true. Finally, Lord Green, is there any prospect of Brexit doing anything to take back control of our borders?
Yes, if we achieve a clean Brexit, certainly. It would be entirely up to us to decide who we were going to have here. And what we've recommended is that we should only have people who would qualify for a work permit. That's highly skilled people. The rest should be either cut off completely or cut off over a period of time, because they don't add to our GDP per head, to our wealth per head. They add to our numbers, and that cancels out the contribution they make. So yes, it is perfectly possible to say we will only have the highly skilled. What we need is a government that has the balls to say it.
Right, thank you very much indeed. That was Lord Green of Deddington being very clear there that immigration has been completely out of control since the turn of the century, and that 82%, an incredible 5.4 million extra people in this country since 2001 because of immigration.